Lucky Lefty Podcast. Happy Wednesday to everyone out there. We're brought to you by ONORA Whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you do so
responsibly.
You got to do it responsibly. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation, Patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. Go ahead, subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, the like button. Leave your comments, your questions. We respond to all. LL Nation, what's good? It's a good vibe Wednesday right here. Lucky Lefty Podcast. So good to have you guys back in. Missed you the last couple of days, and man, let me tell you something. We were supposed to do an earlier show today. We have what we call our food depository day.
Food depository day. Okay.
Yeah, man, our food pantry day, and we pass out food on Saturday and Sunday, but we receive the food from the Chicago Food Depository, they have been a fantastic partner in us being able to distribute food throughout the south side of Chicago, in particular the West Pullman and Roseland areas. And man, let me tell you something. Somehow, some way, they got backlogged, which meant our pickup got pushed. Unfortunately, our employees left. They were off at 2:00 today. Ask me what time. Yes, ask me what time the supplies arrived at the church. Ask me, love. Ask me.
Like 4.
2:15. Like as soon as everybody left.
Yep. Of course.
So I am there as the only male with the full pantry staff that are females. And all of them today act like
that's right.
All of them today were like, "Oh, my back is hurting today. I can't lift anything today."
Oh, okay. They hit you with Dill. Reminds you of your movie packing your daughter's room in college.
Yes. Shout out to my brother who eventually showed up, my brother Brian. I unloaded along with my brother Brian.
So you was lifting today.
Man, I got my workout. I got my Lauren Lando in today, bro. Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. You know, they had a good man. I had to snatch some. They had some really good nectarines. They had the full pineapple, like the actual full pineapple that you have to cut. So we have the tools to get that. I'm going to use that for my smoothies. They had some jasmine rice that I wanted to try.
Oh, you was eating the right way today.
Well, you know, I leave it for the public, but they just had a few things that I wanted to try. They had a few things I wanted to try. So, Left, I know it's a hot topic you really want to get to. We talked about it last night about 9 o'clock my time, 10 o'clock. We were on the phone.
That's right.
We're talking about it. So we're gonna let Left talk about that. Oh, Left. Woo! I got something for you to watch.
I'm ready. I've been waiting.
Oh, the defensive offensive line coaches. They met with the media. Man. Some of the offensive linemen met with the media.
Shout out Charles Jagusah, man. That's a tough loss early on. How you get your pectoral early on?
Know what? I'm assuming it was on a reach. You know, I'm assuming it was on a reach. I actually have a good relationship with his mom, Sheila Dope, and he was fantastic, just fantastic towards me throughout his recruitment to Notre Dame, and you know, she said, "Man, he's fine. He's in good spirits." And you know, I just
it's tough. It's tough, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's tough.
Now it's tough for him, but we're gonna talk about the silver lining. The silver lining in this is, it's Notre Dame. It's Notre Dame. Like any other position, if we lose like the best guy in that group, if Ben Morrison goes down, that's devastating. That's devastating. It's devastating. Yeah, we got Christian Gray, got some other cats, but it still would be devastating. So we're not going to sugarcoat this. As much as we believe in the talent and the depth in the room, and most of that talent, just like Charles Jagusah, was inexperienced. Yo, that's the best lineman on. That's the best guy on the offensive line. There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
No doubt. No doubt.
He's the best lineman on the offensive line. Even when people had issues with him, he was the best lineman on the offensive line. And it was just unfortunate that the news came down. But he already had knee scope, dealt with a knee, recovered from that. Now the pec. I just hope he can fully recover and get over the hump. Get over the hump, because ever since, the injury to the knee was his senior year of high school. So he got through his freshman year healthy. And here we go. Fall camp going into his sophomore year. It tears the pec. Now, I believe the pec, the procedure, I believe, is going to be done soon. His procedure on his knee was actually done by the Chicago Bears physician in Chicago. So that sounds good. The staff, Dr. Radigan, I'm sure they're going to take care of his pec.
That's a long time for a pec.
If I'm not mistaken, the pec is 8 to 12.
Yeah. Because he won't even be able to separate his arm from his body for a minute,
Which had to be crazy because he was walking around practice on Tuesday in a sling. So
that's a tough.
Yeah, I don't think he's had the procedure quite yet. If it's a full rupture, he's definitely going to have surgery. And then that's 6 months of rehab, bro. I was incorrect. That's longer than
he's damn near coming.
Ooh, that's like he might miss the spring. Yeah, he might miss the spring. Yo. No, he might be ready for spring, love. That'll put him right at about February. So he might
I wouldn't even push that.
Yeah, he might be limited in spring camp. But with that type of injury, Lefty, you think he could still
that type of injury? He's young, so he'll be all right. But it's just like, Tosh Baker, a full year at left tackle, what changes, what happens,
Yeah, I agree with that. So get your GTB questions and your super chats in. As I got Eric's Fidel as I speak, we get to those immediately now. Immediately when you put your GTB in the chat or your super chat, we get to those immediately. Jay Grizz, I did not, and I have not watched the first episode of Hard Knocks with the Bears. I heard it was met from people that did. I heard it was okay. Because to be honest, Left, the only storyline is Caleb. And see, that's the problem. You watch others. Like last year, you had the storyline of Aaron Rodgers. You had the storyline of Garrett Wilson. You had the storyline of the defense and how dominant they were. The Bears really have one storyline, and that's Caleb Williams in the offense. And after that, I don't know if there's really any interest nationally outside of that. I don't know. No, but thank you for asking, Jay Grizz. So we're going to hear from Joe Rudolph. We're going to hear from Al Washington. We're going to hear from offensive linemen, defensive linemen. And like I said, Charles Jagusah lost torn pec. 6-month recovery. It's going to be grueling. But we have heard from several players now as they've met the media left. We've heard great reviews about Loren Lando and what he's established. The recovery and how Charles Jagusah comes back is going to be something that we watch, right? because his recovery from his knee was outside of Notre Dame. They consulted with Notre Dame because he was still in high school. They referred him to the Chicago Bears physicians, and they, kind of oversaw things, but they weren't directly involved with his recovery. This time, Notre Dame will be directly involved. So we'll see how the impact of Lauren Lando impacts the return of one Charles Jagusah. All right, super chat. Eric Spigel, thank you, my brother. Been waiting on my boys. Way we can do a call-in video chat show before the season starts with y'all. Get well, Charles J, and go Irish.
That's right. That's right.
We've been tinkering around with a call-in show.
Yeah, that's on the docket.
Yeah, we've been tinkering around with it, how we want to do it. Do we just fully 100% trust the fans that they won't get our YouTube page snatched with some type of ignorance, or either fans outside of that? If I could hook up like a full studio with the phones that give you like the names, and we can kind of pre-screen the calls, that would be the perfect setup. The GTB question. Jason Smith is the Hard Knocks type show there for fall camp and go through the season with the team. Jason, that's interesting. When I was at the second practice, we did see the camera rigs following the different groups throughout the drills. So yes, I would venture to say that the Hard Knocks series for Notre Dame, I don't know if it's even been teased or they put out a promo for it, but it seems like, yes, they are gathering footage because things are a little bit different this camp. We did see that. Don't know for sure, but it seems like that's the type of footage that they were getting. Indy Milton fan with the GTB question. What kind of impact online can Denbrock have? That's a question for you as an OC left. How can he now help out his O-line with his left tackle going down?
Well, definitely run the football away from him. Get the ball out quick with quick game and RPOs. And I mean, it's really about doing your job in the crucial moments of the game. Your long third downs, your momentum swings throughout the game, your big downs, situational football. But from more so than not, he's still ready to play. He made it Notre Dame. He's at a certain level already. And he'll get a couple games to get warm, and he'll be right in the mix with everybody else. It's just a matter of, all right, elite versus elite in a crucial part of games. That's where he'll stand out, and where it'll make it apparent the difference between him and everybody else.
I think I said this in a conversation. You didn't think it was going to be this easy, did you? You didn't think it would be this easy. You didn't think that everything would go perfect in the third season, the third rendition of Marcus Freeman's Notre Dame football team. You didn't think it would just be perfect, right? Heading into College Station. This is a program testing defining moment. Can be, in my opinion, Left. If you can overcome losing your left tackle, it shows the depth that's been built up.
It shows the depth.
It shows the increased talent.
Development of talent.
Yes.
Coaching.
That now you don't lean as heavily on the offensive line as previous Notre Dame teams. And now you have a multiplicity of ways to attack teams instead of just relying on 3 yards in the cloud of dust, by which you need a dominant offensive line, and that has not helped Notre Dame in big games. So obviously,
and even when we used it to take advantage and get it to the wire, we still need a quarterback to get us over that hump. So,
absolutely.
The Ohio State game O-line looked great, even down to the wire.
Yeah,
but it wasn't enough. So,
yeah, I got to tell you about. I played a little NCAA 25. Against some young high schoolers here in the area on Monday night, Left. I got to tell you how that went. Tell you, we'll talk about that.
Doesn't sound like it went too well, man.
Dude, I just, sometimes you have to, let the youngsters run down the hill and get none when you can walk down the hill and get them all.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Just a little patience. That's all, man. A little wisdom. We'll talk about it second. But Tosh Baker, now this is the amazing thing. For me, this is why it's a blessing in disguise, left. Tosh Baker gets moved to the first unit at left tackle. Now you have to remember that Tosh Baker was looked at as the starting left tackle going into bowl prep. It was he and Emil Wagner. They opened the competition and they gave Charles Jagusah a chance. And the next thing you know, Emil Wagner and Tosh Baker both moved the right tackle. That's how good Charles Jagusah was as a true freshman in bowl prep. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, let's take two vets, move them to the right side, let them battle out on the right side. Tosh Baker went to the spring as the starting right tackle. Somehow during the spring, Emil Wagner, going into the summer, he takes over, comes into fall camp as the number one right tackle. And now this is the blessing, because you don't have to get someone up to speed, because if you remember, when there's injuries at left tackle, Tosh Baker was the one that got the opportunity to step up. And then once he didn't perform to a certain level, here comes the first round pick, the number 5 overall pick from the 2024 draft, in the name of, or by the name of, Joe Alt. Like underdog, here he comes to save the day. That was Joe Alt. He was underdog for Notre Dame at that left tackle situation. So Joe Alt's journey, being third on the depth chart, is very similar to what we saw with Ashton Craig, being the third center on the depth chart. Very similar. And I believe Ashton Craig is going to end up being one of the best centers that Notre Dame has had in a very long time. So that's how we got Joe Alt. This is why, for me, having a game, I believe if you had, let's flip this. Let's say Texas A&M was the second game or the third game on the schedule, and you started with a MAC school on the schedule. I might be a little bit more tempted to give Sullivan Apsher, who's battling for the tackle position as well. Sullivan Apsher would definitely get okay. Because for me, Sullivan Apsher is the future. He's the future. It's going to be on the left side. I think it's tackle guard. More than likely, it's going to be at the left guard position when Charles Jagusah comes back. But I would definitely say to myself, you know what? Let me see what the youngster has. But going into a hostile environment on the road, Texas A&M first game, you have the luxury. See, this is something that I'm going to use the word luxury only because it's Notre Dame and its offensive line. It is a luxurious position for Notre Dame. They have a wealth of riches majority of the time. Unfortunately, when Marcus Freeman got there, literally the offensive line was much thinner from a depth standpoint.
Much smaller, too.
Much smaller. All right. And they've got to a point now that they have depth and experience, but depth and talent. And someone posted this, I forget someone's page. I want to give them credit because it's a Notre Dame centric X page. But Elijah Page was part of that 23 class originally before he left the class. And dude, he is a behemoth. They showed him walking in the USC practice yesterday. That dude he's monstrous. If that dude had stayed in the class, then definitely Notre Dame would have been dealing from an area of strength. But even with the loss of Elijah Page in that class, the last two classes have put Notre Dame in a position to whereas, they're working from an area of strength. Definitely not sugarcoating the loss. Definitely not sugarcoating the loss. But they still are working from an area of strength. Right? It's almost like, okay, they lost Jabron Payne. And I'm not comparing this. I'm not comparing him to the loss of Charles Jagusah. But it's like it was like they lost Jabron Payne and no one was like, oh man, that's tragic. people probably were really excited, like, oh, now we get to see the freshman a little bit early.
I mean, people are upset.
Yeah, you're upset because you know he's that specialist, that third down back, that red zone back.
He's a good back. Like
Yes, he is. Absolutely.
He just have other
And a
backs.
strong inside runner. Strong inside runner.
Yeah, we just have good backs too. Like I just
once again, you're dealing with from an area of strength, right? And that's what I'm saying. I don't think Notre Dame, outside of the defensive line. So I'll say this. As tragic as the Charles Jagusah injury is, it's from an area of strength, unproven strength, but from a talent standpoint, still very much an area of strength. My thing here is, Left, you have a luxury of having a guy that has played actual snaps and games at left tackle. Right?
Right.
You keep Emil Wagner, who has solidified himself as the number one right tackle at right tackle. You stay there. You stay there. Oh, by the way, this kid that was the third left guard, because we wanted to get Pat Coogan and Rocco Spindler as the vets the opportunity to battle it out. We're just going to take this 320 pounds, 6'6", big dude, just move him out the tackle because we recruited him. Yeah, we recruited him as a tackle. We bumped him inside to give him a better shot of getting on the field. But now let's move him out the tackle. And you know what? Let's get him up to speed. And if Tosh doesn't play well enough, you know what? The kid is talented enough to play the position. And we could have the next Joe Alt on our hand. That was number 2 and number 3 on the depth chart going into the season. This is when you deal from a wealth of riches at a position and a position group. Notre Dame has that luxury in this position despite the tragic loss of Charles Jagusah. But
yeah, and I think you know, we, like you said, the biggest thing is that we show our strength with having injury in certain areas that other teams would be devastated. A left tackle at Texas A&M right now would be devastated.
Oh, their offensive line is already.
Yeah, so that's devastating.
Yeah.
We're showing position of strength where it's like, okay, well, it was sort of a battle. Now we get a guy that may not be as talented, but that's elite. This is a just as talented guy. He may not be the first round pick, but he's a round pick. So I think that's where Marcus Freeman's, the benefit of having a Marcus Freeman who's a great recruiter is that your depth is going to supply you at all times throughout the year. The year 3, Marcus Freeman's depth is implemented because he's had more than one class to establish that and have retention with. He's done a great job with that. And now these are the fruits of his labor. Okay, we lose a first round tackle. Now we got our second, third round tackle. And we got a guy behind him. We can shuffle some things around. We can still come out with an above average, borderline elite offensive line.
Yeah. So I agree with you, Left. This is, once again, 6-month return, 6 months of rehab, facing Charles Jagusah with a torn pectoral. Feel bad for the kid. I just feel bad for the kid because you do everything, you go through bowl prep and you battle 2 veterans and you get the starting job and you solidify yourself as the best lineman on that offensive line. And you're pretty much like, yo, this year, next year, hey, I set myself up to be able to be that first round left tackle. And now you have to battle through after coming back from the knee. You have to battle back from a tough injury. That pectoral is a tough injury. Like you said, Love, it's not a lot that he can do. You know, he's not going to be able to lift. I'm sure he'll be able to like walk on a treadmill, do some other things and get involved. I was glad to hear that he was very active coaching the very next day in practice. They said he was people that were there said he was very active, very in tune, great spirits. And that's good because you talked about the loneliness you felt left when you went through your injury and being away from the team and what you had to deal with. It seems like he's around the team and in good spirits. And I like that for the young man. And I believe, if it impacts, how does that work? Because you had a leg injury, but it didn't impact your work.
Work as in football,
Like,
just every day.
Let's say generally, if I write with my right hand. If I tear my right pec, now I can't really write. You know what I'm saying? So,
oh man, it's the worst thing in the world. Get a lower leg injury because it's like, man, you can't do anything. Like from the bed to your bathroom with one leg is a challenge. It may take you 15 minutes. Going to the bathroom may take you a 15 extra minute to get your things right. Showering, your life's in danger. Walking through the parking lot, your life's in danger because then you're heavier on your crutches. So you poke through your crutches. Now your crutches are sliding. Now, it's tough. You can't be fast at all. So you have to force you to take your time. Can't turn too often in your sleep because you got to keep it elevated. Can't sleep. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Stairs, a joke. Impossible. Impossible. Even walking kind of sucks because it's tough. So lower leg injuries definitely one of the worst. I can only imagine tearing your pec. I mean, just not being able to walk from like your living room to the kitchen without it being like where's my crutch at? Or it's slippery outside or on the floor. And you start thinking of everything that happened. So, grateful for the ability to walk. But man, it's not easy. I can imagine torn pec is a little different. Because, I mean, probably is uncomfortable to sleep a little bit.
Heck yeah. Sleeping will be uncomfortable. Like I said, I believe it's the left. So unless he's left-handed, he'll still be able to do most of his work.
But nothing's worse than a lower leg injury where you can't walk. Like, walk.
Now, I was about to say, did you get preferential treatment, like leaving 10 minutes before class, or?
I mean, you really handicapped. It's a wow. It's like when they give you the egg in home economics in high school, and they tell you to take care of it.
You have to take care of it like it's a baby, yeah.
And you're like, you start paying attention to everything. Getting rehab hurts. Everything hurts. Like you just wake up hurting. Like, damn, I'm hurt. And so that's where you have to, as an athlete, gain that mental toughness, find ways to manage pain. I mean, I'll never forget, just put in perspective a lot of like, oh my God, what else do I have going on in my life?
he should be able to go on the road. Shouldn't he? He should still be able to go on the road.
Honestly, that sucks.
Once the procedure is done.
I went on the road and tried to travel with you're in the way.
Yeah.
You're in the way.
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
Yeah.
You last one, get on the bus. You in the way of walk through, stuff happening fast. Like, you on the side, get out the way. Ain't nobody trying to really hear you because you hopping around, So I think he should just take an investment in what else do you like?
Yeah, dude. Ryan Loftus. Let me get to Ryan Loftus. My brother, man, let me tell you something. The Notre Dame defense on 25, bro, is
nasty.
It's nasty. They showed Notre Dame a lot of love with that defense. A lot. Thank you, EA. Came through for me Monday night. Lucky Lefty podcast. So that's Charles Jagusah. The injury, devastating news. His injury, the Gabriel Rubio injury. Rubio should be back end of October. something like that, middle of October. So, man, we'll see. We'll see. Devastating news. But like you said, Notre Dame is dealing from an area of strength, not from an experience standpoint, but a talent standpoint. And they have youngsters in the sophomore true freshman class that definitely can fill the bill. Lucky Lefty podcast. Speaking of that, all right, Left. Joe Rudolph met with the media, and Joe Rudolph was flat out asked about Charles Jagusah, the recovery, his thoughts, how's he feeling, and this is what Joe Rudolph, offensive line coach in Notre Dame, had to say.
You go through adversity and an injury like you did, how do you react and how do you coach the student athlete to deal with sudden change?
Yeah, I think the first thing is you got to see it for what it is. Like, you'll go through the surgery that he'll have this week, and we'll find out really exactly the totality of it, like what it's going to be and what's the recovery, and then you do the same thing you did. You have to focus your mind at the day at hand, and you still got to win the day at hand. There's plenty of stuff that you can improve on. There's plenty of stuff that you can help yourself with at every moment. So the idea is you don't take a second off. You know, am I disappointed? Is Charles disappointed? O-line wise? Yeah, of course we are, man. We love Charles. We hate to see him miss 1 minute, let alone the possibility of missing a season. But we believe in him, that he'll be back and stronger for this journey. And we also believe in the guys in that room, that this journey, this hurdle that we have to take is going to make us stronger as a group. So we'll find the answers.
Man, I like hearing that from Coach Rudolph, saying he will find the answers on that offensive line and at the left tackle position. Also, I think, I just had to do that for you. Hey, Left, I just put you on the solo shot. hey, bro. And 2 days working on you, bro. 2 days working on you. We thank you for pushing through.
Season 2 weeks away. Good grief.
Left tackle, Joe Rudolph.
That's an absolute luxury. Like, we got a lot of trust in Tosh, and dude battles his tail off. We left the field last year with him on it and doing a great job at Oregon State, and it's been great competition. So, yeah, him stepping in, we got a lot of confidence in Tosh.
And then when it comes to freshmen like Anthony and Styles, I guess, what do you want to see from them to try and make sure that the depth is sound right there too? Yeah,
I think each guy's got his own case, right? Like, Anthony was healthy in the spring, so he was able to complete the whole spring, and honestly has come in with just an approach and an understanding that you may not have expected. Like, he really does understand the game to a high level, has competed at a high level, and his numbers from the weight room, field, athleticism are like among the top of the group. So he'll have a chance to push up in there and help us in our depth.
When we mentioned Sullivan Absher, he was asked about Styles Prescott and Anthony Knapp, 2 other youngsters, getting the opportunity at that tackle position. Like I said, Left, as devastating as it is, yo, you got questions, we got answers.
The younger guys, yeah, we got options and answers. So as long as we stay with the cards in our favor, like Joe Rudolph said, he pointed out depth, he pointed out guys that have all had a piece of the somewhat action or part of it. So it's a good opportunity for young guys to change their life. Next man in, step up to the plate.
Yep, GTB question from my guy Jason Smith. Left, how your boys looking with the season 2 weeks away?
We're looking great. I think we're going to be undefeated and win the playoffs. We got some tough games, not going to lie. Some tough games, but the coaching's there. The kids want it. We're gonna surprise a lot of people, that's for sure.
You know what, Left? I love that. The expectations don't change. Doesn't matter what the deal is, the expectation is to win a championship. Undefeated championship.
I mean, regular season wise, I mean, it's not too. I mean, they tried to give us our hardest game schedule. I think it was Florida State was one. Texas A&M was in there. Louisville was in there. Like, come on, guys! If these are the toughest teams we got this year, from our standards, we should be right in that pocket of expecting ourselves to be undefeated.
Yep.
I mean, are we going to give a Louisville the credit of beating us this year? Are we going to give Texas A&M or Florida State the credit of getting a loss with all the things they've got going on in their programs? So it's just hard for me to say we'll lose to any of the teams that we have this year.
Yeah, Joe Rudolph, he also talked about why the Notre Dame offensive line is built to survive an injury like this and what they mean to each other and what they stand for.
It's always a talking conversation. Like, those guys are locked in. Like, they know their level of understanding and belief, and the next guy in, the 5-is-1 mentality, like, it's there. So you didn't really have to say much. I mean, as soon as someone's not there, boom, next guy's in. The expectation's the same. The understanding's the same. Freaking Charles went and he's coaching his butt off out there today. He's talking to every guy. He's taking them through everything, especially in the young group. They're a brotherhood, you know, and you know, when a brother's down, someone steps up and steps into that role and handles it, and you're excited that they get the opportunity, you know. But we'll find out, like we said, the rest with Charles. But we're still hope for the best as he comes out of this. But we'll maximize the opportunities, and he'll be better for the journey.
I love that. I think CJ is going to be better for this. Of course, you would love him to get the game reps. CJ would be better, but I think the Notre Dame offensive line, this program, are going to have a defining moment and defining opportunity to say, yo, the program is at a place where it can overcome right now. It can overcome right now. Lucky Lefty podcast. All right. I'm trying to finish up, ladies and gentlemen, because Left he's fading on us. He's fading on us. Ashton Craig. What about Ashton Craig? How has he gotten better? Starting center for your Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And honestly, one of the leaders in that offensive line as well.
I think Ashton Craig had a great journey last year. You know, there were some times, even in fall camp, where we were banged up and he had to take that role as the starting center, and then, you know, had some success, had some things that weren't as good. And I think it's kind of my talk to the guys after practice today. It's finding consistency, right? Like, as an O-lineman, like, you take incredible pride in being consistent play after play. Like, Joe Alt had great plays. Blake Fisher had great plays, but the things that made them special was consistency. They got their job done. As Coach Freeman would say, they won the interval play to play to play. And I think that's it. I think that's the goal of the group as a whole. So, yeah, but I've really loved his approach. I've loved how he's come into this, kind of turned himself, even though he's a third-year player, acts like a veteran player.
I think you're on mute.
It still impresses me, Left, at a third-string center who probably didn't get a lot of reps being the third-string center during the season. Yo, hey, Ashton, I know it's the third quarter of a hotly contested game in Death Valley on the road against Clemson, but hey.
And he held his own. And I think that contributes to their mentality and their relationship off the field. The 5-1, he said it in the press conference. If they're hanging out 5-1, they're sharing. It's like, okay, they're like, it's a crazy analogy. They're like women that stay in the same house with each other. They start sharing the same period.
They sync up. Yeah.
They start syncing. So they're synced up as those 5-1. And what all offensive line majorly is communication. And they get that telepathy thing going between each other to where, okay, he may be down, but we still got guys in the pack that know what's going on. And the routine and preparation is the same. So it's gonna fall off and rub off on Tosh Baker. It's for his first start not to be that far. Like, he's gonna hit the curve.
Yeah.
He's hit the curve. So his curve is gonna be a lot easier than being a fresh Blake Fisher, Florida State, don't know what's going on. So I think this is an opportunity to show depth, show talent in depth, and then to see and witness what player development is for a guy that has to play. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think he's going to be very confident going down there. I really do. And I think, like you said, the change in the offense, the dynamic of the offense, that the offensive line just needs to do their job and not have to be the best unit every game, especially on the road and in big games, in order for Notre Dame to be able to go out there and effectively move the ball and put points on the board. I think that's going to be something that we're going to see. You want to talk about the impact of Mike Denbrock and the impact of quarterbacks and wide receivers now that can get open and make plays, especially after the catch. You're going to see that in bunches this year. So Rocco Spindler, he talked about Jagusah and how much he's going to be missed. This is Rocco Spindler talking about Charles Jagusah.
Yeah, I mean, especially when I went down, we had the next guy in mentality with Billy Schrouth. I mean, that's our mindset. You know, it's unfortunate. You hate to see, you know, a teammate go down, and especially another offensive lineman. But it's the next guy in mentality, and you know, there's a bar that's set, and you know, you have to execute at the highest level. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman or you know a senior.
Oh, Rocco, Julio got you tight, boy. I like it. Julio got you tight, boy. You got the moose. Got the little moose sticking up there, spikes in the middle, the line, and it's crisp.
And he said it. And he said it exactly. The offensive line has a standard and expectation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're here. We're all the time. What we're asking you to do is here. That's everybody. This is your starting point.
Mm-hmm.
This is where people are playing at after we hit the standard consistently. This is the floating around with the Ronnie Stanleys, the Glenchies, the Q Nelsons, but the standard here. So if you are playing for us, you're already here. So we ain't got to go over day one stuff with you. Your whole thing is about can you be elite by doing the standard consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what the standard is because you with us every day. Starters and backups are no different in how they run their offensive line units. It's, oh, your offensive line, we the same. It's just you play this amount, this is how much I play. So that mentality is exactly what Spindler was talking about. Next man in, and hell, you know what you got to do. And I think that's what makes a great team is when you know that it's laid out in front of you what it is that you are expected to, you know, be at as an offensive lineman at Notre Dame.
Rocco Spindler left. This was very impressive by this young man. He was asked about his personal goals. Take a listen to his answer to this. Rocco Spindler, what's your personal goals in this fall camping season?
Goal is, you know, to find the best 5 guys, get ready for Texas A&M.
Wait a minute, hold on. They asked this young man what his personal goal was, Left. Did you hear what the young man said, Left? Did you hear what the young man said? This is what he said. This is Notre Dame offensive line group. This is how they're bred.
Personal goal is, you know, to find the best 5 guys, get ready for Texas A&M, and really, you know, put those pieces together, you know, win football games here. And that's the biggest thing, and, you know, raising the bar and executing at a high level.
And then looking at your game, where have you improved the most, in what area?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Lando, this offseason, he's really changed the whole mindset of how an offensive lineman should be, you know, slimming down, you know, being explosive, that quick twitch fibers. I mean, it's a big game changer with Coach Lando.
This young man was asked about his personal goal and said, man, my personal goal is to find the best 5. Didn't mention himself. I know he believes he's one of the best 5. But hey, man, you love to hear that. You have to hear the selflessness from that young man, even in the midst of losing Charles Jagusah, feeling like, yo, it's all about the 5 of us. And that's that herd mentality you talk about all the time, Left. That herd mentality that exists at Notre Dame in the offensive line. Lucky Lefty podcast. Let's go to Billy Schrouth, who raved about. I've never seen offensive linemen rave about the other guys on the offensive line like I did the other day when they met with the media. Billy Schrouth talking about your starting right tackle, Emil Wagner.
He does a really good job of getting his hands on people. He's got heavy hands. I tell him all the time, get those on him. Like, it does a lot of stuff, and he plays with a lot of length too. I think that's another thing that he does really well.
Billy, it's a long season. What have you learned about keeping healthy and having that energy toward the end of the season?
Yeah, you know, every day you got to work on it. It's just like anything. Once you think you got it, you don't. You got to keep working at it. So I think, you know, getting in the training room, getting in the tubs, getting with the training staff, stretching out, all the little stuff. It's really important.
they all come across as these linemen specialists or technicians where nothing is ever too big to overcome. Nothing is ever too big to celebrate on a super excited level. They're just like, well, we just got to come do this every day. I mean,
You know what impressed me, Left?
Yeah.
As much as Notre Dame fans worry and have concerns about what this offensive line is going to be, specifically game one, they come across to me as a confident group. Like just listening to them talk, listening to them, there is no woe is
They're
me.
not worried. They
No.
don't ever come across as they're just like, okay, we just gotta step in and we know how we get down, and that's the level he's got to be at every day. And they hit you with it happens sometimes. It's football, but that's where you have a depth chart and guys are gonna come in and we're gonna make these adjustments and get rolling. And when you have a confident O line, even guys that haven't even stepped into the position yet are speaking like this, and they're all in unison. They all got the same theme of we just got to come and be consistent every day and work on things. And that communication is there where they're talking to each other about how they can get better, and it's free flowing, and they all built damn near the same. And I think that's one group that, like we said, that's a staple legacy group at Notre Dame, at least so far. And sometimes with it being such a long process of greats that have tried and tribulation and it's worked, I think a lot of guys have caught on to believing in, if I just get through this, on the other side of this O-line room is the NFL. Damn near $100 million. I know I don't have to be with
That's crazy.
What the O-lineman say that commit?
So what you're trying to say is Left, is that a scholarship and commitment to Notre Dame as an offensive lineman is almost like a lottery ticket.
Oh yeah. You just have to follow the different pathways that have been tried and true. Will not steer you in the wrong direction. The system is set up for no matter what adversity you may go through, injury, coaching change, position loss, if you could just stick through on the other side of the end of your playing days of Notre Dame is NFL. Hands down, no question. And if you want to see if it's true, call anybody that was before you right now in the NFL. You have about 8 references that currently active starters in the NFL of the last 10 years. So if that's not the model you would want for a room, recruiting guys like Carnell Tate, if that was the receiver, would be easy. No wonder Ohio State is grabbing and snatching top receivers every year. At this point, it's just like, come on, you want to talk to Chris Olave? Who you want to talk to? Who you want to talk to? So you want to talk to Marvin Harrison? You want to talk to? Who you want to talk to? This is what they did every day. Why did Kentucky get so famous? Because Coach Calipari tells that Derrick Rose story every time. Derrick Rose came in the gym and worked out 3 hours every day. He just was shooting. I came in the gym and said, "What are you doing in here?" And he was just so dedicated, and that's how he became great. After Derrick Rose, they never stopped recruiting great guys. Every year after the Derrick Rose story, Coach Calipari became Coach Calipari because he had the process right there. Turn a one and done into a one and done. Now every year I get a team full of them.
Shout out to Chicago starting the trend. Lucky Lefty podcast. Thank you, Left, for the acknowledgement. Thank you. I say the best for last for you, Left. I say the best for last for you. You ready to get excited about the Notre Dame offense? Pat Coogan battling for that left guard slot. He was asked, have you found an identity on this team, Left? Have you found an identity? Left, I'm going to play the clip, and then I'm going to let you roll. I'm just going to let you roll. Listen to Pat Coogan when he was asked this question about the team's identity.
I think throughout this camp, we're establishing that identity. We're going to be an explosive offense, and then we're going to run the ball, and we're going to run the ball really well, and then we're going to take shots, and we're going to throw the ball, and we're going to score a lot of points. We're going to be very explosive, and then we're going to line up and run the ball.
The young man looks like he has some in his back pocket. He looked like he's like, oh, we got something.
Yeah,
we got something for you, boy. This
said,
is not the normal Notre Dame offense. We got something for you.
He said, we're going to take them shots, but listen, we run the football.
Run the football.
And he said, and we're going to run it well. We're going to take some more shots, and we're going to run it again.
Yeah.
And I think that's the football's about going to the strength of your team, and the offensive line being the strength for so long. You know that running the football is just a staple. That once you get that established, it's always been an ancillary. How do you add the rest of it? You can make a great cake, but why is the layering messed up? Why is the icing off? Why you got the sprinkles not scattered the right way? It's never the cake. The cake good. It keeps people coming back. But it's not award winning because we don't have the ancillary stuff the way it should be. So for us, I think that he's absolutely right. With all these dang running backs we got, we're running the football. Taking our shots, if Chris Mitchell can run behind somebody, a Bo Collins can make with the football in the air. Right? Jordan Grayhouse has been a great everything down receiver. So you're in a position where your quarterback's decision making is going to be ever more important. So with one football out there, and you have a good starting base with your offensive line.
Yeah, Lucky Lefty podcast. That was your offensive line and your offensive line coach talking about the offense. When we come back, we're going to get into the defensive line. Al Washington, what did they have to say? And we're going to talk about the goofiest of the goofies that got left holding the bag. The goofiest of the goofies that got left holding the bag. We wonder if he's still going to be crying on national TV now that everything has kind of cast out the bag. Are you still going to cry for that same guy like you did last fall? We'll talk about it coming up next. Lucky Lefty podcast. We spin it different.
What's up, family? The merch shop is finally here. Lucky Lefty Network merch shop. We got it all. From the shirts to the hoodies to the hats to the nitty gritties. Come here right now. Shop with us. Come get the swag because if anything else, we spin it different. You see the gritty. You see how we get down. It's elite.
Come on, we gon' party tonight. Y'all use mouth to mouth. Bring the party to life. Don't be scared. Show another party of life. The more drinks in your system, the harder the fight.
Lucky Lefty podcast, Onora Boys, back in the building, brought to you by Onora Whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com. Premium American Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you do so
responsibly.
You got to do it responsibly. Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation, Patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. And don't forget the YouTube. Subscribe. Hit the thumbs up, the like button. Leave your comments, your questions. We respond to all. Home and a misguided passion, forever committed to making sure we spin it different. It was a championship Wednesday, so I had to throw the goat on. You know what I mean? Had to put the goat on.
What, the half-pint drinker?
Real goats don't act like somebody's cheering for them.
Oh, that's crazy.
When the true star, the home country kid winning all the gold medals, the true star of the Olympics.
You're better than that, Sean.
The real MVP. Brian Windhorst is a clown. He's a clown. This guy actually got on TV and said LeBron is close to adding the Olympic MVP to his resume. Did we just make up Olympic MVP? Is that a new award? We just made that up. We just made. You have to, you have no more titles to add to the resume. So we have to makeup trophies. The Olympic who was the 2020 Olympic MVP? Left, I don't know. Who was the 2020 Olympic MVP? Do you know? I don't know. It's a new award. It's like breakdancing. It's new. I don't know. I don't know.
That's messed up, Sean.
I'm just saying, your boy's looking goofy, but not as goofy as Sherrone Moore.
Not as
man. I love you, Jim Harbaugh. I love you, man. I love you. Yeah. You know what they did? They all got together, you goofy, and they said, you know what?
They said, we got us one.
We're going to tell the board, hey, this guy is the perfect
this guy. Is perfect. He said, we got a perfect scapegoat. He deserves the job.
Yeah, you don't even have to. The players love him. The players love him. Out for him. He's the perfect patsy to take these suspensions. The perfect patsy.
Perfect
to
fool.
Take the exclusion from the CFP.
He won't even make it to the season. We'll get him out of there just to clean up right before we start. Everybody will be packaged up. It'll be good. Connor Stallion's been out of here. Harbaugh done ran away, got his getaway flight. He's good. Sherrone Moore caught holding the bag, thinking he's doing it for good old Harbaugh.
Oh, I love you, man. Coach Harbaugh. Coach Harbaugh. I love you, man. I love you. Meanwhile,
what Coach Harbaugh say? I don't know nothing about nothing. I don't even know those guys over here.
Yo, this man, hey, Coach. So what's going on with these deleted text messages and everything that's going on in Michigan, man? I don't know nothing about you.
I don't know nothing. I coached the LA Chargers.
So what you talking about? I know nothing about that.
I know nothing.
I did not have relations with that woman. I did.
I mean, guilty as hell and don't even care.
I mean, dude, he took everybody else with him. He was like, hey, Michigan, I'm taking Elston, taking Mentor, I'm taking the strength and conditioning coach. I'm going to take everybody. But you know who's perfect for you guys?
Yeah.
Who's perfect? Sherrone Moore. He's perfect for the job.
Man, that brother right there deserve it. Deserve it. He's the most deserving guy out here.
Goofy.
Cool.
Harbaugh out there with the rest of the former coaches just laughing, drinking it up, playing some juvie.
He think this the opportunity of a lifetime.
Oh my God.
What we say? Harbaugh brought in the roof, Chris. Sat him down.
No. This how it played out, left. You know, they win the championship. Jim's like, yo, Sherrone, I want you to come to the suite.
Come to the suite.
It's so pivotal. The 3 games you won while I was out, I feel like I owe you.
I feel like I owe you. Like I couldn't be.
Come to my private suite. Come to my private suite so we can party together. And then in the middle of the party, he said, you know what? You know what, Sherrone? You won those 3 games. You proved yourself. You proved yourself.
Yeah,
you proved yourself to the university. I think
you're a real Michigan man. You're a real
Michigan man. You can carry on the legacy that we've established. You're part of that legacy.
I don't know how long I can do this. I'm getting old.
Yeah. I think they might come after me. They've been bugging me, irritating me, all this stuff. It's just time for me to go.
Time for me to move on.
Yeah, time for me to move on. I think
you've been a good soldier. All this stuff we've been doing, you've been holding it down. Now while I jump ship, I need you to take that thing and run it right into the iceberg. Sherrone Moore sitting there the whole time. I love this, coach. Yes, sir, coach. Whatever it takes. Michigan forever. Whatever they say. Go blue. Whatever the hell.
Oh, dude.
I'll be blue, all right.
Goofy of the goofies.
Of the goofies. The king.
Banana in the tailpipe. Whatever you want to call it.
And it's crazy because I want to hear him cry for Harbaugh right now.
Jim Harbaugh, I love you, man.
Harbaugh has, to this day, has yet to ever respond to that.
Ever.
Never.
He's in his hotel room dying laughing like, look at this goofy, man. Yep, we got him. That's it. Hey, guys, Hey guys,
We figured it out.
we got the passing. We got the fall guy right here. He's on TV crying for us right now. We got him, guys. We got him.
He said, "Let me rewind it. Let me rewind it. He really got the waterworks. This fool here is golden. He's golden. Get him on the phone right now." Hey, we're out of here. Pack your bags. Call the Rams. Say we're coming.
Look, see, he'll do anything for me. He'll die for me. Look, guys, he'll die for me. He's perfect.
He'll take the fall. Perfect.
He'll take the fall. Perfect. He's willing to stand in front of a bullet for me.
Yeah, fun. Yeah, fun. Hey, you know it was just like that.
Oh man. Oh, he is the goofy of all goofies, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man. Lucky Lefty podcast. Let's get to it. Al Washington met with the media, love. Oh boy. Oh man.
It's just the biggest sucker in the candy store. And Harbaugh just knew. I swear it was that day. Harbaugh said, "I have my perfect exit plan.
I got him.
I got me the biggest fool of them all. I got a man crying for me on national television. He'll be honored to take that job for me, take that flag. He'll be honored to take the flag. And when he calls me when I get to that next destination, I'm not going to answer.
I don't see. It's like, man, he had that moment, like when I'm on the court and I hit somebody with like a hard jab step and they take 2 steps back. I'm like, oh, got him. Got him. Got him. I got
you do one of these.
I got you one.
You do one of these and come a little closer. I got to show you something else. If you go up for that, I got to show you something.
I got him. I don't know what the equal would be to that for a quarterback on the football field, but as far as hoops, that's yeah. That was that Jim Harbaugh moment when he was like, "Oh, I got him. I'm gonna draw him in even closer, boy."
It's just a damn shame.
He probably sent his wife flowers.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, baby, we out of here." I done figured it out. He done took his wife to dinner that night. Just said that we got to boost the energy. I done found me the biggest fool of the bunch. I mean, I can't, and you know it's true because the way this man copped out.
Man,
I have no idea about none of that. I was unaware, uninvolved. I don't even know those guys.
Jim, what about your recruiting violations that they got you for?
I was just there to coach. You know, I shoot. They did what? They did what? No, they under my watch. Man, I can't believe that.
Jim Harbaugh gave them the face on love from Money Talks in jail. Boy, they put their hands on you. They put their hands on you.
What?
Was it like this?
Yeah, was it?
No, was it like this?
Did we steal it like this?
Or was it like this?
Man, you talking about bank robberies? It's tricks and schemes all over the place. At high place, they said that the biggest tricks and schemes are at the highest of places.
Oh man,
yeah. The real criminals don't go to jail. Don't get in trouble. The real criminals make out like a cool, smooth criminal. That man got a new facility. You see him walking around a new facility, showing off the new facility. You know, that man participate with the team practice. I mean, he is a Charger. He is not Michigan. What? It's my former team in my old days.
Oh my God.
It's quite all right.
I knew he was a goofy. I knew he was a goofy when they asked him about that situation at the Rose Bowl, and he was like, "I don't see color." I love you, man. Yep. I love you. I was like, "Yep." They got him one. They got a goofy on their hands. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
They're gonna have him take the fall before the first game and then bring in a whole new coach.
Dude, the question wasn't even about that. What are you talking? Why are you copping? This dude is just copping please all over the place.
And they watch TV like, is this brother okay?
Right.
Are you okay? Can you
They
just
ring on the tea? Did they ring the top of the teacup on you? Like, what is going on?
I mean, he was full character. Like this man.
Oh man, I'm sorry. We were supposed to do 5 minutes on
I
this. but
only
this dude
hope
is just
they love Marcus Freeman like that in the end, bro. I just only hope Marcus Freeman get that kind of love.
right. Yeah, so you hope the coaches, you hope Al
Man, I
Washington
hope
cries for
Coach
him too,
Washington,
right?
yep, Al Washington get up there and get the man. This man, Coach Freeman, the best coach ever. We need something. Maybe that's what it take to win. Hell,
It's like, yo, what are you talking about? Dude is the goofiest of the goofies, bro. Man, that if I was his son, I would be treating him. You know that Kevin Hart, when he did the joint in Cleveland, and he was talking about his dad when his dad got beat up by the dude.
yeah, like you take out the trash.
No, you take out the trash. If I was Sherrone Moore's son, I'd be like, no, you take out the trash.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna call Harbaugh.
I'm gonna call Harbaugh because you a goofy.
And we gonna see them tears start to. Yeah, don't make me get the tears out you.
You are something else. He right. You are something else.
Yeah, I'll get Harbaugh tell you to take out trash. You gonna do it. I mean, clearly, the way you ready to die for this man on TV. He wasn't even at the stadium and you crying for this dude. You won the game. You done coached the game up. You done had a great win against your own rival. You don't even take credit for what you did. You say a thank you and crying over a dude that wasn't even there, bro. Him, that brother down there in North Carolina, Hubert Davis.
Oh, hey man, let's move on. We'll say that for Three's Company with KG because both of these dudes. Oh man,
where they get these guys from? I mean, he's
dude,
big old.
Bruh. Like nobody's even asking you about that.
Nobody is bringing that. Is this what you be thinking about?
Stop it, please. Like you already programmed the answer.
They already had it ready. Like nobody. After he said it, nobody asked you that. Oh, I just had to.
I just had to let everybody know. No, you didn't. You really
didn't.
No, you didn't.
Nobody was thinking that in their mind. Nobody was wondering. You want to include this stuff in the conversation. That's like we know you. We know you know you're wrong. We know it. We know you know you're wrong. Like don't get to try to beat us to it because we're gonna write it in the Reddit later. Don't even worry about it. But the Reddit's gonna be written. Don't try to get ahead of it. Talk about you. So no.
Justin N.D. Troll stopped and said, reporter. Do you think Harbaugh's a good coach? More. I don't see color.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. What is this?
What are you talking about? Oh, man. Al Washington met with the media left, and he was talking about, man, Riley Mills haven't taken a step forward. As if he needed to get better. He's obviously done that according to his D-line coach.
Damn, man, his body's leaned out. I mean, he may have a six-pack under there. He's just been a hell of a leader. You know, I think one of the things he is becoming comfortable with is that, and he's doing a phenomenal job. He's come back. He and a number of other players, man, have transformed their bodies to play at the highest level. And so I'm very pleased with his progress, and he's working his tail off like he always has, so it's been good.
How do you kind of balance developing the younger players and kind of maintaining the veteran players as well, and the performance of both?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I think you have to put people in roles. Like if you're a young player, I'm going to put you out there with the older guys to see how you respond. And then you also encourage the older players to become coaches. You know, I think when you take ownership on a younger player, you know, I think there's a certain engagement that helps you stay close to the game and not feel like you're going stale. I think that's the key. And the circle of life, so to speak, and that's what we focus on.
He's on his Hakuna Matata now, the circle of life.
I don't want to hear nothing from Al Washington other than production. I don't want to hear nothing from Al Washington. Production,
I knew this was coming.
Production. I don't want to hear you sweating. You must be working out with him because you got to put your hand on something. You need to put your hand and bless them D linemen and bless that recruiting because I mean, come on now. Mike Mickens an over employee of the month too many times. At what point do you say I need to stop Mike Mickens from winning employee coach of the month, and I need to put my name in that hat. This brother done got I don't even know where else you go in the college football where they're like, you know what, you so good, we need you over safeties too. You get corners and the whole secondary. You need a bigger office. We got you, Mike niggas. That's what I need out of Washington to be having some of that. Because that's the direct position, coaching wise, that needs to show the most this year. Linebackers are a lot to wait for and witness, and we're ready to and anxious to see them on a player level, coaching level. I'm excited to see the D-line coach. Because what's going on? They say if you ain't getting better, you're getting worse. And I'm not saying we got worse, but did we get better? I mean, hell, linebackers is producing a Buckets Award winner, first round, third draft, fourth round, third round. I mean, that's production. Rotating coaches.
Hey, I'm just saying.
First round, all pro, first round corner, first round safety, defensive player of the year. What D-line? Where the awards at?
Max Bullock,
all-time sack guy, but what does that mean?
Max Bullock after 1 year got JD and Maris drafted higher.
I'm just saying. Everybody else,
and he can recruit.
And hell, Marty Biaggi can recruit. So
he definitely recruited a kicker and a punter. He saw that real fast.
So what we saying now? Everybody kind of, all right, now Washington, we nudge it. When you gonna make a splash? Mike Mickens is just repeating success. Oh, we'll just get a defense player of the year. Oh, we'll just get a first round corner, first round safety, first round younger guys, top recruits. I'm just going to stun on you guys. I got a Don Shula ready. Out Washington, what we got? A lot of potential. Riley Mills been there a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And as good as much as we like Riley Mills ain't got no top draft pick right now.
Yeah, he's like top 3. He's second, third round right now. If he backs up last season the same way he played last season with this one,
he got stuff to prove. But we got no. I think Al Washington has a lot to prove on a coaching because hell, Elston was pumping them out now. I mean,
these are two Elston guys at the beginning. I'm just saying.
Khalid, Ade, Dalen, Tuitt, Niggs. I mean, Elston deserves that championship, in my opinion. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
I'm just saying that they were evaluated, recruited, and developed early by Mike Elston. I think, look, I've said this even when he struggled from a recruiting standpoint. I thought Al Washington, from a coaching standpoint, has been solid. I really do. And that was before Howard Cross took off. That was before Riley Mills took off. I think the move to give those heavy minutes and reps to Howard Cross that kind of caused Jacob Lacey to become upset with his role and ultimately transfer to Oklahoma. That was a decision made by Al Washington. So, he pushed the right button. Unfortunately, Jacob Lacey wanted to leave, but it seems to have worked out in Notre Dame's favor with the play of Howard Cross. It really has. So, you give credit to where credit is due, Left, and I'll give credit to him. He didn't recruit the guys, but they have gotten a lot better under his tutelage. So let's talk about the defensive line, what to expect from them. This is what Coach Al Washington had to say, ladies and gents.
Just you have to work people in different spots, different times, coach everybody. Don't coach the 4, coach everybody. And I think the way college football is going, you need, you got to have at least 2 deep, if not 3, when you think about the length of the season. So we coach them all, and then we put guys in different situations to give them the confidence, and that's the kind of plan, so to speak.
Yeah, speaking to that depth, even with the loss of Gabriel Rubio, which you would have loved to have on that second unit, the young defensive linemen that are emerging from what the practice, the short practices or the few practices that we've seen. We talk about Jason Onye, when you talk about Armel Mukam, when you talk about who I believe Sean Sevillano Jr., because of the drive he has, is eventually going to become a factor during this season. And then you talk about Gabriel Rubio coming back in October, Devin Houston, Brennan Vernon, Cole Mullins, who has been doing incredible work, working at three, working outside, inside. I mean, he's been doing all types of things on the defensive line, really being cross-trained. And Al Washington is a part of that, making that decision to give Cole Mullins a look on the interior. And we'll see how it eventually turns out. But I love the depth of that defensive line. And this is what Al Washington had to say about his young emerging defensive line.
And Bubakar's, he's picked up right where he left off. He had a great spring. He's having an even better summer. Armel Mukam, who really is kind of his first opportunity to get out here, is doing a phenomenal job. I mean, I can't tell you how good a job he's doing. And, you know, he's the best thing about Armel is he's incredibly bright and just a tough kid. So that those factors usually help. But yeah, those two guys that you brought up, man, they're really doing a fine job.
I like to hear that. We saw Boubacar Traore flash against USC, sacking Caleb Williams.
Yes, we did. And I think that's a great staple to put your thumb on. Boubacar Traore is not similar to a guy that has talent, but the development will be key to his success, and we're seeing it and him become his own and gain confidence. And that's all we're asking Al Golden, just produce – not Al Golden, Al Washington. All we have is just produce a couple of those guys to be consistent. From a room, we may not have a Isaiah Fowski from a sack leader, but from a group in a community, we can be strong. And every guy can have some type of value and benefit to this year's sack production. Because that's what this year's measurement stick for me, for Al Washington, is all about sack production. You done got so low on it, Marcus Freeman's like, it's not even important, which that's crazy to say. I will never forget that. I just think that's just, I would always be on my mind when he said that.
It's crazy because, first of all, shout out to our co-host, Lil Left. I've been missing you, Lil Left. Unc's been missing you, man. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. I ultimately left you here. I like it because he mentioned an edge rusher, and then he mentioned a guy on the interior. He mentioned an edge rusher, and then he mentioned a guy on the interior. And I think we're going to hear Riley Mills in a minute talk about the young defensive lineman. I'm very interested in hearing. He referenced a certain player when he referenced how good Boubacar Traore is looking right now. And I want to see if you agree. I want to see if you agree with who he said this guy is the next, blank when it comes to Notre Dame defensive ends or Vipers. Al Washington continued on, and he talked about the focus of this defensive line and how they're going to go about the season and the rest of this fall camp.
We ever stop working technique? I don't know if that ever stops. But we certainly are working on consistency. I think when you think about a game with the emotion that comes up, being able to do your job despite all of that. And I think consistency is the key. So doing it once is great, but that's not the key. The goal is to do it consistently. And so that's our focus, that's our mindset.
What are some of the intangibles that you're coaching? I know the heat is going to be a factor down in Texas.
Yeah.
The other intangibles that you work on during camp?
Yeah, it all starts upstairs in your mind, what your focus is, right? Your ability to reset after a play or prior to the snap. Are you focused on the right things? Are you seeing your key? And then are you working the fundamentals consistently enough that you don't have to think about them? They're second nature, they're a part of you. So that's kind of where our focus is, and I think that's what's going to help. The fact the weather is the weather, I think I don't know what it's going to be. I'm sure it'll be warm, but we can't even consider that. You have to focus on the things you can control, which is your mindset and your technique. So that's kind of our maybe coachy, but that's sincerely how I view it, and that's how our players go about it.
Left, consistently, I've heard Notre Dame fans in their concern with the Notre Dame offensive line say, man, Texas A&M, their offensive line is really good. And I sit there and I say, well, Our Notre Dame offensive line is more talented, and I think our defensive line is just as good and just as beat as Texas A&M's. So they have to play us too. Their offensive line has to play against a really good defensive line too on that day.
And that's what it is, and that's what makes it good is that because it's like, who's the star? You could Howard Cross could be the star that day. Riley Mills could be the star that day. Tyson Ford may have a good game. You got all types of options, all types of guys that can go in there and affect the game. Your Jordan Patellos, the guys that you're relying on, and it's a good mix of young and old. We don't just have a young D-line or an old D-line. We have enough guys with enough reps that everybody can have a good day. And we can make it hard. We don't have to be necessarily a Will Anderson and a Dallas Turner with two standout elite edge rushers, but we can have a Jordan Patello and we can have a Howard Cross go crazy. We can have, the Riley Mills have an impact in a way where we fly around. A lot of what Al Golden does have guys fly around, make plays, and because of the aggressive nature of our defense, we can be like that. But we just want to see it on the numbers wise.
Man, I'm ready to go. I'm excited now. It's starting to inch closer and closer. I know Notre Dame fans are getting even more excited as the days go by. You start counting down the days and you start realizing, man, August 31st it's almost here. It's almost here. I'm excited, bro, because next weekend, not this Friday, but the next Friday, I get to go see Christopher Burgess and Mikael Blade. Come off the edge for Simeon, baby.
That's right. I want to see it.
Hey, hopefully, Al Washington, Chicago, 2026. We got you. We got you. Just take all tree. Take all tree. We got you. You want to get the depth in the D-line and get it ready? We got you here in Chicago. You don't need to go any further. We got you.
My bad. I hadn't said Tyson Ford. Tyson Ford gone.
Yes, unfortunately, the injury. Unfortunately. Riley Mills. I love this dude, man. By the way, Riley Mills, as Al Washington
nice pitch for the White Sox, by the way. You saw that?
What say? Well, we got a win last night?
He threw that pitch out for the White Sox. Did you know that they're on a 17-game losing streak?
No, 21 until they won last night. It was 21 left. Don't short us now. Don't give us our credit for being as bad as we are. 21 in a row. Had an opportunity going to the 7th up 2-0 today against the A's and blew that game. Blew that game. When trailing after the 6th inning, it is an MLB record. When trailing after the 6th inning, we are 0-66 left. They have not one game. They do not have one comeback victory all year. Not one. Not one. 2 14 plus game losing streaks. 2 on the season. And if you took both of those losing streaks away, they would still have the worst record in all of baseball. Only Jerry Ryan's doing.
Still had a worse record?
Yes. You take the 2 losing streaks away, which are 35 games, they still would have the worst record in all of Major League Baseball. Yes.
What they got? They got to change ownership. They got to sell the team, man.
Riley Mills, ladies and gentlemen.
Biggest thing I told Coach Freeman and Coach Walsh and Coach Gold was, look, I don't want to come back and be the same player I was last year. And I knew I had things I wanted to work on, regardless if I left or if I stayed. So, it's just a really big appreciation to Coach Landau. The biggest thing that we worked on was how do I get, my weight down? Because last year I was about 305, 310, and now I'm, 293, 294. But how do I keep that same strength and really improve my mobility? So that's been, I come in probably every day, for about an hour and a half and do mobility with him. In the weight room, he's always adjusting things for me to get better on my, mobility in that aspect. And, but he's also someone he's like, look, I want you to get faster. I want you to get stronger. So just to have someone that's on the same page has been great. And, he's been around some of the best there's been. So I've just been super grateful to have someone like that in my corner.
Hey.
He's the definition of a great product of he goes through the changes, the ebbs and flows of a Notre Dame program through head coach change, strength and conditioning, being a player that was worked and had things to work on. Now he's at this grad transfer Super Saiyan level. A very established foundational player to the team. He's one of these guys that have a really good season and be a second round guy, and be in the league for years to come. So this is a great depiction of, once again, you come to Notre Dame, you get on the program, man. Get on the program, buy in. You're going to be exactly where you want to be. And Riley Leonard came at a great time. NIL's kicking up. He's reaping a lot of benefits from that. Chicago native. Chicago heavily involved in his NIL space. And, it's good to see, man. It's good for a Chicago kid to have a lot of success at Notre Dame.
Hey, what did I tell you we have in spades in Chicago? Linemen, baby. We'll take care of you, Notre Dame. Just trust us.
Yeah.
Just trust us and believe in us and invest. We give you linemen every year. We'll make sure we take care of you.
That's right.
We just put a Chicago lineman in the Hall of Fame that went through Notre Dame. That's what we do. That's what we do. Lucky Lefty podcast. He also talked about, I love this. There's a lot of talk about who you go up against in practice on this Notre Dame squad. You got defensive players talking about offensive players talking about defensive players. Riley Mills talking about Ashton Craig.
Both done a really good commitment, especially with Coach Landau this offseason. They need to get bigger, they need to get sturdier. And, I didn't get too many opportunities in the spring to go against them, but I think in this fall camp, it's been great to battle against them. I think one thing they do a good job of is that, they're always together. I said earlier, but, they move in herds. Like, if you're walking to get lunch, they're probably together eating off the same plate. So, I think it's just they have great communication, great chemistry. So, we're going against them. It makes us better and, makes them better to go against each other.
Yo, hey, man.
That's the secret to success. Eat off the same plate. That's how close y'all are, man. Y'all that tight. But it's stuff like that works. Everybody got little silly things. Maybe not silly to them, but you see how you get a $100 million contract, you got to act like that. Certain stuff you just got to do. And I think the D lineman hopefully seeing that can be like, well, maybe let's try that. Let's try hanging around in a group all together all day. Do everything together. And we'll see how close we are on the field, It translates.
Yeah. Riley Mills excited about some of the youngsters on the defensive line, and he gave his thoughts about their ceiling.
I mean, we got guys coming back at, a high level. We got Howard, RJ, JB, and, myself as kind of the older guys. But, I think what's really exciting is that it's not just us. You got Donovan Heinisch. The Heinishes. You're getting, you got a good player right there. Jason Anya, Josh Burnham, Junior Tuilalanka. I mean, I just think it's great that we got so much depth. And I think that's something that, last year, we didn't get to see as much. But now as we get into it, it's, is our ceiling high? Yes. But is the guy behind us ceiling high? Hell yeah.
Uh-oh. I like what I'm hearing from Riley Mills, bro.
Hey, he said, but the guys behind me, that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. When you can say, I'm good and we straight, but the guys behind me are good too, maybe even better, sign of a good program.
Mm-hmm.
And a sign of, guys acknowledging, this is stepping up in competition. Younger guys are being more competitive, and it ain't like when I came in. Like Riley Mills is like, man, listen, like when I came in, it was a little different. Now guys are coming in ready to play and compete.
Yeah.
He's just happy. He ain't coming in when they came in. He's like, if I was a year a little sooner, a year earlier, shoot, I may not even be able to get out there. You know what I mean? He said, so that's why I'm excited for guys. Whenever I leave, we're gonna see something. I'm just not gonna have to take that.
His partner in crime, Howard Cross, man, he's loving the youngsters too. This is what he had to say. He didn't just talk about the sophomores. He's looking at guys like Bryce Young, like, yo, I'm jealous.
Obviously, I wish I was also 6'5" and can run like 30 miles per hour with like 2 feet. But I'm very excited to see where they go. Like Bryce, for example, reminds me a lot of Foskey. And like I'm really excited for them. I really am. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yo, you heard that comp? He said Bryce Young reminds him of Foskey, left.
Oh, but we know he gonna have that info and technique to do some things and achieve some things that the common football player wouldn't know. But at the end of the day, we go back to it. That's a guy that I didn't even remember, but a guy that's gonna come in and make impact day one, not down the line. And so we talked about hell. As much as we love Audrey Estimate, his time was up because 12 got to get the ball. Aeneas Williams coming in.
Yeah.
Kendrick Young's coming in. So it's nothing, but there's nothing wrong with Audrey Estimate. But that level of talent, younger, is in the building. Audrey Estimate got better as he got older. We got guys ready right now. So, hey, go ahead and graduate, man. You know, you don't want to stick around here.
Yeah.
You earn money.
Yeah.
Riley Mills is on that same path. Steve is on that same path. The old guard is changing.
We love to see it. Lucky Lefty Podcast, Howard Cross also talked about the impact of Al Washington and what he's added to not only him, but the entire defensive line.
I think really for coaches, it's just consistency. He really hasn't changed up what he's doing, but that's kind of the charm of it, you know? Like every year we just get better with the same stuff. You know, you don't have to be fantastic with all these crazy movements and all these crazy things that a lot of coaches do. It's if you just do the 3 or 4 basic things right, near perfectly, like nobody can beat you.
You know what, Left? I would agree with that. I think that's what I don't like about all of this training and personal trainers with young kids. It's like, man, just get the fundamentals down, bro. You learning these combination step backs as a 9-10-year-old. Just learn how to dribble. How about that? Get that down pat. Learn how not to travel with the ball. Get the fundamentals. Then as you get into high school, we can start adding to the game. But I love hearing it.
And that's what it's about. Get your fundamentals down, man, and the rest will take care of itself. And I think that's one thing that this staff has been harping on. You hear from Denbrock, it's the little things. You got to attention to detail. You got to play fast. So these are things that may seem like a great wealth of knowledge with a guy like Denbrock come back with that resume, but it's the basic things that make him the great Denbrock that came back to Notre Dame.
Yeah, I agree. So that covers the defensive line. Al Washington, Howard Cross, Riley Mills, their thoughts on the upcoming season, their thoughts on the young talent on the defensive line and the depth on the defensive line. We haven't even mentioned Donovan Heinisch, who's going to be a great player. You know what you get with the Heinisches, like Riley Mills said. So I'm looking forward. Like I said, this Texas A&M offensive line, they have to deal with the Notre Dame defensive line in that heat. You know what I'm saying? The Notre Dame offensive line, they have a task in front of them. But hey, they're questionable, and I mean questionable. Listening to the Texas A&M podcast, the questionable offensive line play, what they have to face in this Notre Dame defense and defensive line. Yep, feel pretty good going into this game about the prognosis of Notre Dame being able to shut down or stymie the Aggie offense. I feel pretty good about that, Left.
Feel great about it.
All right, Left. On the way out, man, people have brought it up in the chat. Crystal ball for Auburn to flip Deuce Knight. You can just go ahead, Left. You know,
I don't count on it. I mean, but if they're offer you the whole shebang, I don't know. They say, Deuce, now we're gonna give your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister a job, $100,000 to start off with. We're gonna get you a nice little Lamborghini Urus, your own crib when you come, and all the golds and riches you want. That Notre Dame 4 for 40 just seems like it'll take 40 years to get there when you can have it right now. So, you know, they're offering things at this juncture where it's hard to say no to. And hell, when you're 16, 18, 17 years old, you know, that instant gratification is available. And rightfully deserved. Notre Dame just can't be playing the fence, because when you play the fence, everybody loses.
So for you, it's a matter of put your chips in the middle of the table?
Well, I think with certain players you got to. I think that Notre Dame got comfortable with the fact that they thought we got a steal. They thought that we recruited the CJ Carr mentality with a better top tier talent and athlete, but Deuce didn't know anything about Notre Dame until Notre Dame started recruiting. Deuce is a top player in the country. When you're a top player in the country, certain things come with that, and a lot of that starts with being available and open to a lot of different offers, because he's not just going to go with the perfect example. Deuce Knight doesn't have a little kid jersey of Brady Quinn and talking about this is a lifelong dream and this is everything he could have imagined. He don't got the Notre Dame allure that's going to get you overlooking a lot of the things that college football is offering right now. And when you're a top player, hell, hey, ask Coach Kelly. He got the number one quarterback in Bryce Underwood. Coach Kelly, no, some money had to get passed around. You're not grabbing number one quarterback in that class after grabbing the top 5 quarterback in the class before without some things happening. So if that's what Coach Kelly meant, then he's right. If he can't recruit at Notre Dame the way he can recruit at LSU, well, the quarterback solidifying is an example.
Now, I will say this. This news of the flip, if this news of the flip, let's say, continues and somehow makes it into the season, like he starts his season and they're still talking about him flipping, I think Notre Dame might be trying to make some things happen, whatever that might be.
Hey, listen, this is the one guy that this is all right. It's time to do things a little different.
Yeah, if the flip happens before his season starts, then it's like, okay, with him being in season, it might be difficult for Notre Dame to really, do some things. But if he still publicly is holding fast to Notre Dame during the season, and then Notre Dame comes out and puts up 40 points a game, and then Auburn struggles offensively, if Notre Dame goes on a run and he's going into the season still committed to Notre Dame, because I think Auburn, that's what they're trying to do. I think there is, a push. I think a lot of Auburn people are talking to the media, putting out stories, saying things, trying to influence him to commit before the season. Because they know if we can get him to commit.
Because Auburn don't know what their season's going to look like. We know we 10 wins.
No. If they can get him to commit before the season, then it's a pretty safe bet. It's a pretty safe bet that, it's going to be really tough for Notre Dame, even if they stay in the fight to overcome Auburn. But if he holds fast, because usually when you start hearing about flips, it happens really fast. For some reason, he is still. It's probably tough. It's probably a tough decision, right?
Well, he put a lot of groundwork in. He's recruited a lot of guys.
Look, you couldn't sway me as a parent with a job. I don't know the working situation. I'm speaking about me personally. Career-wise, I'm good. I'm always gonna do my thing.
Even if they like that, 100,000 come with it now.
But that's 3 years, bro. That's 3 years. He's gonna be. Hey, he's about to go to the league in 3 years.
Anyway. That's what I'm saying. The kid in the league 3 years now. You really good.
Doesn't matter where he's going, right? So I'm not about to sacrifice his happiness and where he really wants to be for me getting a little cash on the side. I'm not doing that. I can only speak about myself personally. If it comes down to, it's easier for everybody. His grandmama wants to be able to drive to the games. His mom wants to be able to drive to the games and drive down to campus, all of that. All right, fine. I have no problem with that. But I'm just speaking like as a dad. I'm like, son, you gotta, man, You have to go where you want to go, where you feel like with all the take away the bells and whistles. Where do you want to be? Take away all the bells and whistles, all the sweet talk, all the finesse talk. Where do you want to be? What coaches do you want to play for? And make your decision and live with it, son. Make your decision to live with it. It's as simple as that.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. That's all it is. So I understand, bro. That's a difficult. I don't envy that. Because I can only imagine the crazy amount of things that are probably being offered. Right? What do they say? The law is for the lawless. People that obey the law don't need the law. The law are for the criminals, bro.
Yeah.
So the laws, the laws are for the SEC. You can make any rule you want to, NCAA. The SEC schools are always going to try to find a way to cheat because they're criminals. They're criminals. They're just natural criminals. They're natural. They've been doing it for years. They're criminals. They're criminals. You open the landscape. You give them NIL. They still want to be criminals. That's what they do. That's what they do. They don't know any better. They'll do anything.
That's what you're going against, Marcus Freeman. People that are willing to do anything, and you that are trying to do it a good steward. This is going to be hard to compete. I'm telling
you. Yeah. Irish Steel is right. The way Hugh Freeze moves, man, they probably got a brothel down in Auburn. The way Hugh Freeze moves.
Oh yeah. Rick Pitino ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh no, that cat Rick Pitino had a nice little machine going at Louisville though, bro. I don't know. And that cat.
And guess what? Louisville was relevant and they was winning.
That cat is he's in New York at St. John's now. Yeah, his operation in New York is probably top notch.
Oh, elite. Oh, that's organized. They might hit him with a Rico because that's gonna be top notch, put together, professional. They're gonna have to bring in real, FBI for that because they're gonna have to need some. What all them offshore accounts they probably got in New York going on, man? What? Sometimes it's about location.
Hey, you see it, Irish? All around. You probably right about that, bro. Hey. Yeah. That's a good point. It is a different level of hospitality. So, Lucky Lefty podcast. So we already talked about it, but we're definitely putting Sherrone Moore in the petty train. Goofy of the goofies.
Get him out of here, man.
Man,
he ain't gonna make it to the season. It's all for what? You cried on TV. Thought you was getting a head job just to be the scapegoat and fired before the season started. Michigan said, Michigan State, we can one up you. Yeah. Check this out. Check what we about to pull this brother.
And Marcus Jordan, my brother, how you get caught sniffing lines at the Olympics, bro? Goofies. What? Bro.
Just a big dummy.
I think I'm about to go watch the season. I've yet to watch the season finale of House of.
Of what?
House of Dragons. I haven't watched it yet. Everybody was disappointed, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and finally watch it. Everybody was like, "Yo, you should have just let episode 7 be the cliffhanger. That'd have been perfect." Boy, that cat Damon got on Vagar.
It was over with.
It's coming out, and when you saw him say, "Whoa, no," he knew. Yeah, they waiting on me. They're waiting on me. But like I said, with the Deuce Knight thing, this is the last thing, man. I forget who said it, but Cam Newton openly said that he spoke to him at one of the 7-on-7s.
Really?
They were at one of the same 7-on-7s. So I was like, yeah, Auburn is probably. We said this on the phone. Look, man, I'm sorry. When you have Cam Newton in your back pocket, Notre Dame doesn't have that in their back pocket. Not at the quarterback position.
No.
They got it at running back, offensive line, defensive back coming soon. Quarterback, unfortunately, there is no quarterback. Brady Quinn calling Deuce like, hey, Deuce, stay locked in. Just can't compare with that cat Cam showing up or giving a call or being on campus at the same time as you are when you take your visit. That's a big joker that Auburn has, man.
Yeah.
Now they don't have too much in comparison to Notre Dame, but that right there, bring in Tony Rice. I don't think that's gonna have the same effect, bro. I don't think that's good. I love Tony Rice. I just don't see that having the same effect.
I don't think so either.
Nah. Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Tap in, CFB Nation, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Follow us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. We appreciate you guys so much as we continue to build. Can't wait for all of the different shows that we're going to be launching during the season. Three's Company is going to return this weekend. Three's Company is going to return this weekend. Chemistry is going to be coming up. And then also we have a show where you won't see me. All you're going to see is Notre Dame players. I didn't play at Notre Dame, so I'm not allowed. I can produce it, but I can't be on the show, unfortunately. That's coming soon during the season. Working title. We got to get the title for the show, but I can't wait, bro. It's going to be a rotating group of players talking about the game post-game. I think that's going to be different, bro. That's going to be different. So we thank you guys for joining us tonight. Left, you have practice in the morning, right?
Yep. I'll be done around 8:39.
Okay. Practice access tomorrow, I believe. No, I think practice access is Saturday. I think Saturday will be the next practice report. So for Left, SD2 mics, tap in Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We're the home of the Misguided Passion, Lucky Lucky Podcast. You already know. We spin it different. Have a great Wednesday night. Talk to you tomorrow.